Hello everyone, Elite Lampman here. Episode 78 is finally out, and it was amazing. And we're going to analyze it today, so sit tight and enjoy. I don't want to yap that much, so let's start. The episode starts with the POV being in a camera lab, and we actually see in the background which looks like a toilet helping a cameraman. I can't really tell, but it's not that important, so let's move on. Then we see an engineer cameraman and an engineer toilet upgrading a camera. Toilet which looks like the camera toilet. Anyways, let's move on. Then we look around, and we see speakermen interrogating a toilet. Then we look around more, and see speakermen and cameramen. We also see a cameraman and a human, and the human is holding a bazooka or a rocket launcher. Then we look around more, and see humans that woke up or are talking to cameramen or speakermen. Anyways, then we approach a speakerman. But I don't know why, but I don't think he's right in the head, for real. Anyways, then we look at a human, and she says, without your help, we wouldn't be alive and well. Then we give a nod as "okay." Then we look at a human talking to a cameraman, and he has a steak, which is a reference to the YouTuber steak. And the human says, raw needs more cooking. But this human we saw in a season, actually. I'll pull up a picture real quick. Well, at least I think this is the same person. I might be wrong. Correct me in the comments. Anyways, let's move on. Then we see a message. Your location is compromised. Retreat immediately. Then we hear Astros outside. We as the POV are getting ready to shoot. But then the Astros are getting closer, based on my thought. Then the Astro named Hunter warps in and attacks everyone there. He knocks us down and we are injured. He destroys everything and kills everyone there, and the camera goes black. Then we wake up again and hear a person being scared. We look the Hunter, and we see him biting half of the human off. Then he just keeps on eating and Astro Duches appears. The POV looks towards her. Then we look up at her. She bends down and says, snack break, give me some. And Hunter gives her the human. She licks or eats some, and Hunter says, how do you like the human? And Astro Duches says, raw needs more cooking. Then she throws the human away, and then she tries to rizz us up. But we as the POV don't like that and try to shoot her. She opens her shield, and we still shoot. But did you notice something? Her eyes turned red when she turned on her shield. So does this mean every Astro that has a shield need to turn on their eyes? Off topic, that's for a future video. Anyway, then she laughs at us. Then Hunter attacks us and kills us. The camera goes offline, and that was the intro. Like, that intro alone was a whole-ass movie. Anyway, then we see multiple POVs being killed by Duchess or Hunter. This just shows how strong Astros are. Anyway, there's nothing much to analyze here, so let's move on. Now the main point of the episode starts. It basically starts like episode 74. The camera says Portable Camera V2 online, and we see Chief Camera. Then we see a scientist toilet. Maybe a version 2? I don't know. Then we see upgraded Rizsaw Mutant Toilet 3.0. Or a new mutant? Maybe Dafuk Boom will tell us anyway. Let's move on. Then the mutant takes the camera and looks at Chief Cam. Then the POV points thumbs up and then talks to Shadow TV Man. And the POV says, you staying on base. Shadow TV then says, it is now or never. We shall join the battlefield before teleporting. Then the mutant looks at who I think is Fred. Then we hear Polly saying, get over here, deporting now. Then the POV says, hugs? The Polly says, no chance, grab onto something else. And then, I'm just gonna let you see yourself. Yeah, anyways, let's just move on. The Polly teleports to somewhere, and we look up at him, and he says, you think this is funny? That we are some kind of fellas now? And the POV mutant says, yes. And then Polly says, you are wrong. Do you possess even the dimliest concept of what this place is? Then we look at Polly one last time before looking at a city, and Polly says, is it future? Then only a creepy sound plays before Polly says again. Or is it past? What resides in the corner of this darkness? Then we see what I think is a flashback of how the POV mutant was created. Have a look for yourself. We also saw scientists before we saw a TV named Jeffrey based on large TVs. Quote, Jeffrey wouldn't mind some company. And on what I think is happening is some kind of injury. Or glitch. I don't really know anyways. Then Polly tells us to lock in before teleporting to the destination. Then Polly says, approaching destination. Then we teleport to an area filled with Astros. Then Polly says, perfect timing. Before the POV looks at the destroyed city, we see so much destruction. Then some Astros appear and the POV says, Lord forgive me, before killing all the Astros there. Then the POV flies to the Astros in the air and kills them. We can also see the camera toilet and Polly helping in the background. And the POV killing all Astros, I really didn't find much here. But then he uses his shoulder blasters and his arm cannon, but if you look closely, these are parasite guns, or the guns scientist Cam used on his neck in EP54. Anyways, then he lasers at the Astro. Then he uses his katana or sword and attacks the Astro with it. And then the POV slices off the Astro's arm and slices off its head. And then the POV says rest in shit, and then gets attacked by an Astro from behind. But the POV throws his sword and shoots the Astro with 2 guns that we haven't seen before, maybe new upgrades? Who knows? Anyway, the POV shoots more Astros with the guns, and one shots them. Then he puts the guns back and turns around to kill 1 more Astro. Then he walks to the bald Astro and lasers an Astro to make sure it's dead. Then gets ready to kill the bald Astro, then it screams, and the mutant kills it. Then we see the dead body of the Astro. Then we look around to make sure no Astros survived. And we see Fred killing a survived Astro. Then we hear an explosion and see Polly. And if you actually look closely, you could see YouTube's headquarters here. Anyways, let's continue. Then we see Polly screwing off a Astro's head. There's nothing much to analyze here, so I'm just gonna let this play. Then Polly rips off the Astro's head and throws it. And bro, just look at this explosion. Like, what is that made off? Anyways, then we look at Fred out of confusion, then at Polly. And then Polly looks at us, and then we turn around to see another Astro. And then it shoots at us. But I think this was either a distraction or a spying Astro to give our location. Then we hear another Astro appearing, and it dashes at us, causing us to fall. Then we land on the ground. Then we stand up and see the same Astro and it's trying to kill us. But then the goat Larry saves us, and it hurts the Astro. But the Astro fights back, causing Larry to be injured. But then Larry causes the Astro to kill itself. And it does. Then the Astro's toilet dysfunctions itself. B sees there's no host anymore. Then Larry sits down and controls the toilet. And basically infects it. Then Larry flies away but leaves his body there. Then we see him flying away, and we look around and see that the building is collapsing, so we get Larry's body and get out of there. But the camera gets injured as well. But we still manage to make it to Polly. Thank God. Anyways, then we fly to him and bring Larry's body. We place him on a container and we were about to teleport but see a message saying, spy detected. And we also see a Lil circle, which could be a new upgrade. Anyway, then the Astro flies away and we fly after it and laser it. Then it explodes. And we make sure it's dead and laser it and shoot it one last time, but multiple times. Then it dies. Then we turn around, but sadly Polly and the others teleported away. But then, someone who I thought got teleported. We see Larry. But I don't really know where he flew to. So tell me in the comments where you think he flew to. Anyways, then the POV says, if this is where my life should end, so be it. Then we see the POV walking towards the Astros. But we hear a toilet screaming and we see the best Astro toilet, in my opinion, wishes Hunter. And we see Hunter and the POV getting nearer to each other. And the POV is preparing to shoot. But Hunter dodges every orb. And Rizsaw says, what? And tries to laser at Hunter, but Hunter kinda like absorbs it in some kind. I don't really know. Buzz anyways. Hunter does a shockwave because of the laser, I think. Then Hunter dashes into the POV and we fall to the ground. And we try to fight back, but Hunter is too fast. and Hunter slices our arm off. We try to laser at him, but it doesn't affect him. But then we don't have any weapons, so we can only give up, and we get stabbed in the stomach. Then we fall on the ground because we're losing blood, at least I think so. And Hunter was about to kill us, but he said, "Any last words?" And the POV says, "I can't believe I have to see your ugly motherfucking face." Then Hunter gets ready to kill Rizal, but he heard something. Wishes. The Speaker Armada. And bro, these designs are just wow. Then we see Executor Speakerman. No, this is not Titan Speakerman based on him not having a core. Anyways, then we see a Speakerman attacking Hunter, and just warfare and fire and stuff. We could also see like some kind of speaker jet. Here's a picture. Anyways, then we look back to Executor Speakerman, and Hunter tried to hit him, but it did nothing. Then Executor catched Hunter and killed him. At least I think so. Anyways, then Astro Strider pulled up and shot a orb at Executor, and Executor caught the orb with his weapon and killed Strider. I meant he threw his weapon and killed every Astro there. Then Hunter escaped from Executor's hand. And then Hunter said something like, "This isn't the end," or "Your death is soon," and escaped. Then Astros arrive and shot at Executor. But that did nothing, and Executor caught the orbs and fired them back at the Astros. Like his bro from the Matrix. Then the orbs went to the Astros and killed them. But a Astro survived, but Large Speaker Man killed it. Then we see another Astro survived, and a Large Speaker Man killed that one too. Then Executor finished it off. But bro, look at how big that explosion was, like, don't mess with him for real. Anyways, then we see his shadow. And bro, you can't tell me this looks cold as fuck. Anyway then, Astros shoot at him, and he and the POV look to where the shots are coming from. And we see upgraded Astros shooting at Executor. But then we see my Baba Girl, Speaker Woman, in her 2.0 form, and she looks amazing, as always. We see her doing some kind of tornado spin move with her katanas. Maybe that's a special move? Who knows? And then we see her slicing off a Astro's head. And being badass, as always. Anyways, then she lands, and bruh, just look at that design. Beautiful. Anyways, then she looks at us. Anyways, then we stand up and look back at Executor. Then we look back at Executor, and he looks down, but then we turn around again and see a Astro. He is lasering at Executor. Then Executor absorbs the energy. Then one of those jet things comes and blasts orbs at the Astro. Then it uses its speakers to hurt the Astro. And it deploys itself and separates its speakers. And those speakers crush the Astro's head in. And then the Astro dies. Then it crashes. The POV's camera gets injured a little bit. Then all red fog is everywhere and we can't see anything. Then we see Executor again. And he walks towards a dead Astro and places his weapon on it and says, "Invaders shall be executed." And then the weapon from Executor does some beam in the sky. I think to alarm some Astros that they are there, or fuck Titan Speakerman. Because they know that the Astros know that they are there and that they are gones get stronger. Astros. Anyway, then we see the whole armada gathering up. We also see in the background which looks like Speaker Strider 2.0. We also see multiple versions of Large Speaker Man, maybe clones? Who knows? Yeah, no, the Astros are cooked. Anyways, then we look at Speaker Woman and she gives us one of her swords. Once we get it, it turns yellow. Maybe? Connections? Who knows? Then we get ready to fight. Then we look up and see multiple Astros arriving. But then we see Astro Mothership arriving. I also noticed Pablo Ima show a screenshot. Let's continue. Then we get ready to fight, but Mothership appears. And then we get ready fight because we're flying with our jetpack. And that's the end of the episode. I hope you enjoyed this analysis. This took me a while, so please consider leaving a sub and like Elite Lampman out.